Shalom, I'm Uri Pilichowski, and this week's Sedra is Sedrat Behaloscha. Sedrat Behaloscha contains a deeply disappointing episode in Jewish history. After the Jewish people in Bnei Israel were freed from Egypt, and they had the sea split for them to save them from the remnants of the Egyptian army, they had Hashem fight for them against Amalek, and Hashem gave them the Torah at Har Sinai. The people felt it wasn't enough and complained to Moshe. One reads the scene in this week's Sedra and is left incredulous, unbelieving that a people could be this ungrateful. The Sedra reads, the people were looking to complain, and was evil in the ears of God. God heard, and his anger flared, and a fire from God burned among them, consuming the extremists of the camp. The people cried out to Moshe, and Moshe, being who he was, prayed to God, and the fire died down. He named that place Tavera, for the fire of God had burned among them there. But the multitude among them began to have strong cravings. Then even the Jewish people once again began to cry, and they said, "Who will feed us meat? We remember the fish that we ate in Egypt free of charge, the cucumbers, the watermelons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic." Incredibly, the people began to think of slavery in Egypt as better than freedom. They complained about meat, but remembered the fish of Egypt. Their complaints were unfounded, heretical, and nonsensical. There was something bothering the Jews of the desert, and it is up to us to figure out what it was that was bothering them. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos stated, there were 10 times that our ancestors in the wilderness tested God. As it is written, "Who tested me these 10 times and have not obeyed my voice." The Talmud explains a similar statement to that Mishnah and lists the 10 times that the Jews tested God in the desert. The 9th test was when the mixed multitude, the Eruvav of nations which accompanied Israel out of Egypt, complained for meat, precipitating Israel's complaining as well. Hillel was wont to say, and is quoted in Pirkei Avos, the more flesh a person has, the more worms, meaning that when they die, they don't have this flesh left. It actually works against them. But Israel didn't come up with this idea of complaining for meat on their own. There were a collection of people from various nations, bandwagon jumpers, who kept egging the Jewish people on. These were cynics who left Egypt because they saw the grass was going to be greener with the Jewish people, but they were quick to complain when things didn't go perfectly their way. It was hard to believe that the Jewish people would be this ungrateful, and in fact, the people who began to complain weren't people who had anything to be grateful for, but the Jewish people forgot themselves. They forgot their past, and they fell into the mode of putting themselves first and God's perfected system second. It is an episode that has often repeated itself through our history, but one we must learn not to repeat. We must first set our values on a straight path and ignore all those who try to get us to veer away from it. It's a strong lesson that we learn in this week's Sedra, and one that I hope you'll take to heart, and one that I hope will keep us as a people strong forever. Shabbat Shalom.